Hello and welcome back. So for this video, I want to go through an overview of the web author buttons. Um, so in the main screens video, I did not go into the web author buttons because it's a little bit lengthier. So let's go into that now. So if I check out, I am logged in as my SDL. So if I check out this state standard, we have, again, in the web author screen here, we have the navigation window. And if I'm ever checking out, this is going to be the section hierarchy view here. And if we're ever opening up an already saved document, by default the tree hierarchy is not shown. So if I want to check this tree hierarchy button here, and what that's going to do is it's now going to open up these add sections. So if I again deselect it, they get hidden, and if I click it again, I can now add these optional sections, such as a general consideration, additional consideration. This middle window here is going to be where we're going to actually write the standard. This is going to be our content editing window. And then the right side here is going to be our, so for a specific state standard, we have the state revision pane that will tell us our editing rules. And then we have the preview button, so we can see the preview pane, so we can see a preview of the document of the standard. So the reason I switch it to PDF is because now we get these additional PDF features. I can download a copy, I can print it, and I can zoom in, and I can kind of move around the document. When it's as image, I don't have those features. It's really just a static image. I can't zoom in, so I lose kind of a lot of functionality that you really get with this PDF copy. Alright, so let's go through all of these different icons here. So the first tab is this home tab. If I make changes, there is an undo button, and then now there is a redo button. So undo, redo. Now this next one is called paratypes. So in here, I have normal, heading, long quote, so all these different paratypes, and then I have regions. So depending on what document you're in, you have different regions. So for a state standard, we can make justification statements. So there's where I would use this region for a justification statement. If you're in a documentation file, then you would have a comments region. The paratypes is if I make a table. So let me go to the insert tab, and I can add a table. Then I can do test, 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 test. I can go, let me go back to the home tab. I can highlight this and I can do a paratype of center paragraph, and then it'll center my text. Same I can do for this one. Oh, actually I'll do this one. I can highlight my text and do right justify, and that will right justify my text. And then you'll see those changes here in the preview. And you'll notice the justification statement does not appear. Next is we have tag types. So you can tag, these are just, it's really just a Quark default thing, but you could tag things as keywords, and then that puts a special style onto the document. These aren't really used, and we just kind of left the Quark defaults there, so really you probably won't use those very much. Next is bold, so I can bold text, I can italic text, and I can underline text. Very similar to Word there. Again, we have the strike through, we have the subscript, and we have superscript. So we have all those different styles we could use. We can make a bullet, we can remove the bullet, we can add a number, we can remove the number. If we do have that, then we have the increase indent, decrease indent buttons for the bullet list. Next is find, so I could do a search in the document to find a word that I'm looking for, and then again you have the replace, so you can find and replace. So it replaced 6 occurrences of body to test. And you can see that even though I did that, track changes is still on, so it still counts it as a track change. The replace, right, so it's just the replace window, find and replace. It just takes you to the separate tab. We have a spell checker, and you could check spelling. And then this last button is you have a refresh button, and I believe that is for components, is I could refresh a component. So let's say if you the way these components can work is that I could route the definition section to Paul, I can route the purpose section to Jim, I can work on the conditions section, and we can all work on the document together and just have different sections assigned to ourselves. So if Jim updates the purpose section, we can use the refresh button to see Jim's new changes. This last button is XML, and it's really there for me as the administrator. If something ever goes wrong with a document, this is where I'll look in the XML to see what's wrong with it. Not something that just a regular user would use. Next, we'll go to the Insert tab here. And so we use that to insert the table. So the first one is Insert Table. Now, tables can be saved to the server, so I can make a table component for them. So this section, this other button would be to pull a table component into the document. One example of that would be the NHCP index table in the ADM folder, right? So I can bring in these, like if I wanted chapter 1, I can bring in these tables. So if you had a table that was used in multiple standards, you could create a component of it and then pull that table into multiple documents. Or if you have a table in the standard and that table is also used in the O&M document, you could save the table from the standard and then reference it into the O&M document or specification document. Or if you had two specifications that use the same table, instead of creating it in both, you could make a table component, and then point it into both of those documents. Now, when I created this table, a new table panel came up, and so again, that gives us, caption section, description section. I can insert a paragraph after. It gives you all of the buttons that you get on the right click, adding a header row, deleting a row, deleting a column, inserting a row. So you get all of those features just in the button form here at the top. So let me go back to the insert panel here. Next is the region. So if you didn't want to use the home paratypes regions here, you could do the insert region here. And just like the tables, you can create regions from a server. Next is going to be insert figure, so I can add a figure into the document, and I can do insert image. Now with this, you really want to use insert figure from now on. Insert figure is the 508 compliant version. So we didn't disable image, but really that doesn't give you the 508 options. Really, you're going to get that with insert figure. So you really want to use insert figure. Next is video. If you needed to insert a video for whatever reason, you have that button here. You can insert an Excel component. So you could upload an Excel document with your table and everything in it, and then reference that into the standard or any document. I don't think I have any in to show that. Yeah, I don't have any actual Excel documents in, but you could then pull in an Excel component or a PowerPoint or even a Visio diagram. And so Alexa just kicked in, that's funny. So next you can add in a special character. So you have the special character window here if you need a any type of special characters. You can insert them without knowing the keyboard shortcut. You then have the cut, copy, and paste buttons. Pretty self-explanatory what they're going to do. So I can cut, I can paste. Paste does not allow unless you're in Internet Explorer, so you have to use Control V to paste. And then again, you have the copy button to then paste. The reason the paste button doesn't work is that is a security feature in Chrome. So if you're using IE, that doesn't have the same security feature, so it'll work. But in Chrome, that's a security feature that the browser doesn't allow buttons to do pasting for you, so it makes the user have to do the action. If I go to the Review tab, here we can add a comment. So I can say, so as you saw, I hit New Comment. That opened up the Changes panel here, which also has the Add Comment, Remove Comment. And so I can write a comment to someone else to review the document, like a STL to an SDL or an NDL to an NTL or vice versa. So I can just write a comment to them to let them know they need to change it. And then here it'll be highlighted and you can see that someone commented, and then it'll appear in the changes window. Then as well as I have the remove comment button, so I can delete the comment. And then I have the track changes button and I have the highlighting button. So highlighting will leave track changes on, but it will remove all of the highlighting features. And you'll see the little squiggly underscores, right? So that you can see. Hello. Then I can turn highlighting back on and you'll see that hello came back. So the yellow squiggly is from the spell checker. And the reason why test is getting spell checked is because it's considering a body test to the spell checker because they're together. So that's why we're just adding a space so you could tell that they're not actually spelled incorrectly. They were just combined together. So with highlighting on, I can go between with these next and previous buttons. I can go to all the changes, and then I have the accept all changes, accept change, and reject change or reject all changes, just like in Word. The last panel here is references. Really not something we ever really use. So you could add a link, you could do insert cross-reference, and I actually don't know what these buttons do. Insert footnote and insert endnote, you could use those buttons to enter those kind of contents in. Here gives you the create component table component button and the replace from table button. Again, you'd have those on the right click options. It's just the button version of that. And you have the same version for to create a region component and a replace from region component. You can edit a component, so if I clicked on purpose, it should have given me the edit component button here. But again, I could just right click and do remove component or edit. So if I do edit, I don't have permissions as the SDL, so none of these buttons work for that. Interesting. Again, not something we really use. We're just going to use the right click options, save and close, discard changes. And then I can do pin, refresh, remove, and replace from server. Replacing from server lets me choose a different component to replace this one. Removing component reference removes the component reference, but it keeps all the content in the document. So I now have all this content here without it being linked to another document. Okay, so now on the right side here, Really this footnotes, if you added footnotes to the document, it would be here. And I've never used index. Refers to which components are referenced here. And the standard can't be used for where used. But if you were to check out the a definition section, it would show where that definition component is used. And we went through the changes panel a little bit, so I can refresh this. I can sort it by reviewers, and I can sort it by type, so I can remove comments, I can remove deletions, I can remove inserts, just to kind of filter out this changes panel here. You can see that inserts are here, and then deletions have that red strike through. I can accept or reject a change from the side window here. And then I can sort by position and date on when the comment was made, or position in the document. In the preview window we went through. At the top we have save revision. So that will save a revision of the document, but leave it checked out to the user. That is useful, and I highly recommend it when you are planning to make a new document and spend a lot of time reworking it right then. Because if you were to create a new document and not save it, you do not get the Quark automation save feature until the first revision saved. So if you're planning on making a new document, it's a really good idea just to use the save revision right away. Get a copy saved into the Quark system. In case anything happens, you can always revert back to that revision. You always have at least one copy of it, and you'll have the Quark autosave feature kick in. The save and close option, it's going to work the same way as save revision, but at the end of it, it's going to check the document back into the system, so it won't keep the web author screen loaded. Discard changes is going to delete everything that you did and revert it back to the last saved revision. And then close is just going to close this window, but leave it checked out to you. So in discard changes, you no longer have the document checked out. And then in close, it just closes the window, this web author window, but leaves the document checked out to you so no one else can check it out, or they would get a warning that they're going to kick you out of the document when they check it out. Alright, so those are the most notable things with the Quark web author screen. Thanks for watching. Bye.